This is Road to the Golden Door, where we unpack the proven success formula straight from the minds of Golden Door winners, uncovering the motivation, methods, and the mindset it takes to become an elite performer in door-to-door sales and in life. This is Road to the Golden Door. Now, here's your host, Mikey Lucas.
All right, what's up? Welcome back. Road to the Golden Door. We got a special guest today coming off of his Golden Door award-winning year, Seth Dozer over at Bright Home Energy. He's a sales manager, and he's out of Phoenix, Arizona. So, Seth, welcome to the show, bro.
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it. I typically start off the show with, who is Seth Dozer, but I'm pretty intrigued how I would just say you just seem like you're together. Have you done podcasts before, or are you?
No, not at all. I mean, I've done I do a lot of trainings and like all the front of the guys, and I've never had like a problem with, I'd say, public speaking or talking to people. So it's cool just having a convo,
Yeah. You seem pretty together. So that's pretty awesome, man. All right. So who is for everyone that doesn't know, Seth? So you're in solar, right? Bright Home Energy, sales manager out of Phoenix. For everyone that doesn't know who you are, doesn't follow you, who is Seth Dozer?
Oh, dude. I mean, who is he? He's a crazy guy. No, I'm just kidding. All in all, man, I kind of grew up in a pretty traditional household. But I think a couple words that would describe me would be just straight up discipline. I've always been in either athletic role or, doing sales or working with clientele. Usually a lot of stress involved. So, a lot of stress at a young age, playing sports, being super competitive all the way through, and then rolling that into the, solar and everything. As you know, it's a pretty competitive realm. At least I make it to be on myself or around other people. So all in all, man, grew up in the great state of Arizona. Probably won't leave unless I have to because I love it here. But overall, grew up the southern part of the state, went to the U of A, graduated there with a degree that I didn't use. But I wouldn't have found solar without going to college and doing all that stuff. So
Sure.
Yeah, just an overall workhorse.
Awesome. That seems to be very common within the listeners. They ask that question, like, what do you see, like attributes or character traits a lot in Golden Door Award winners? And like you said, say it in any way you want to, a workhorse is definitely something that I see in all of these high performers. So that's pretty awesome, man. Tell me, what did you go to school for? When did you graduate?
So I graduated, it was right at the beginning of COVID when stuff started to shut down. I'm 26 now. My first 2 years of college, went to Mesa Community College here in Mesa, Arizona. Played a little bit of football there. So again, being competitive, trying to do something with my life, play ball. Did that for 2 years, enjoyed it, had a great time. And then went to U of A to finish my degree, and it was an architecture degree in sustainable built environments. So there's a lot of design aspects, obviously, drawing and doing stuff like that, but ultimately around sustainable built environments. So there's a lot of solar involved here in Tucson there. So it was funny. It was my senior year, and I had to do an internship to graduate, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And most of those internships at the university, I didn't pay, and I was like, okay, I can't do something that's not going to pay. I gotta make money. So there was an ad online that was funny. My girlfriend found. She sent it to me. It was for solar sales for the summer, month or two or whatever. And I was like, nah, screw it. We'll see if I can do this door to door thing. I've heard of it. Heard people were in it, like making decent money. So I tried it. Made a good clip of money. Liked it, enjoyed it, but I wanted to guide. Like I was telling you earlier, I wanted to be a big game guide. So all through college, even right there at the end part of high school, I was guiding hunts in Mexico, deer hunts. So wanted to do that really bad full time and just kind of get out of that college life, senioritis, get out there and kind of just do whatever I wanted. I was tired of school, tired of getting told what to do. And I was like, see you guys later. So I stopped. I didn't continue solar. I left and I guided for those next couple of years and loved it. I wouldn't have traded it. And then kind of got done with that and was like, all right, I need to get back into making some money. So came back to it. Yeah.
Awesome. So tell me, let's slow down right there. And let's talk me about some of the game stuff. What about hunting is and guided tours like?
Yeah.
I'm assuming there's some similarities there with like having the experience of a guided tour for someone that's never done it before to, you know, helping homeowners go solar. Like what is there similarities there? Like what's up with that?
There's tons of parallels. So as a guide and you're working for an outfitter, so I guided northern Mexico, so Sonora, Chihuahua, and then all over New Mexico, and then part of Arizona. Like I grew up hunting, loved it, and I was like, how do I make money doing this? And it was guiding for outfitters. So it's the same concept, right? So there's private land in Mexico, private land in New Mexico, and of course there's like state land. You're working with game and fish, things like that. You got to have a guide license. You got to take a test and all that stuff. You got to obviously, you know, play by the rules and obey the law. But in a lot of these states, as well as in Mexico, a lot of you get like landowner permits. So if you own a big clip of land there, same thing as Texas. You're in Texas, they got a lot of private land, and these, you know, landowners get deer tags, elk tags, antelope tags, whatever. Us as an outfitter would buy them at a set price, and then we turn around and outfit it, right? So someone from, you know, whoever that's got any bit of, you know, anywhere from $4,000 to $40,000 based on the hunt can say, hey, I want to book a deer hunt in Mexico. Okay, our fee's $5,500 or $7,500 fully outfitted, all inclusive. They show up, usually a person I've never met, and then I'm taking them out hunting for 5 to 10 days in high stress situation with a random country or random place with a random person. And then there was a saying I used to always say is, if you really want to get to know somebody, you take them hunting. Because one, there's a lot of money on the line. It's stressful, especially, you know, the elements. You're outside. Could be hot, could be cold, miserable, windy, you know. So you see everybody's emotional level through all levels. So yeah, there was a lot of parallels. You're dealing with 90% of people were really cool. The other 10% were like, oh my gosh, I'm going to kill this guy. But yeah, definitely a lot of parallels. Because at the end of the day, you're dealing with people, one, you've never met, and then you're having them trust you for the next 5 to 10 days in a place they've never been. And you got to be the expert. If you're the expert or not, you got to fake it till you make it. If something happens, they're looking at you like, hey, dude, you got to get me out of here, or help me pack this out, or hey, the truck breaks down, or hey, this or that. So you're putting out all the fires. You're starting all the fires. You're doing everything. So you're getting hired for your expertise, and you got to show out, right? So you have some hunts that are, you know, $4 or $5,000, and then you have some hunts that are 20, 30, 40, maybe even $50,000, really high-end dollar stuff. It's a lot of stress. You got a client breathing down your neck, and you're dealing with stuff that you can't control. You can't control the animal. You can't control the weather. You can't control, you know, a bunch of other things. So it's a lot of parallels. I think it's more stressful than solar. It was kind of funny. I think just because there was so much uncontrollables, you know, dealing with Mother Nature, it's like, forget about it. You know? Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of a direct parallel. It's just outside, you know. Plus we would do show circuits. We'd go to like the SCI show, have booths, sell hunts. And of course, like if you're a successful outfitter and a guide, you'll get obviously like repeat clientele. Like towards the end of me guiding, like I still have people hit me up like, hey Seth, like I want you to guide me to Mexico, or like, can you come on this hunt, stuff like that. So you get repeat clients that people want to continually go with you every year. And I have lifelong friends from that. A lot of business people that I've dealt with just through guiding, a lot of contacts, because a lot of these guys that are doing this are very wealthy individuals that can afford, you know, a $5,000 to a $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 deer or elk hunt or whatever it may be, and they're doing it multiple times a year. So you're dealing with, you know, high octane individuals usually. So
yeah, that's really awesome. And just to be clear, you are talking about hunting, not solar, right there, right? All those crazy.
Yeah, so you're doing deer hunts. You're anything. I mean, like at the end of the day, hunting's a rich man's sport. You go get some quotes for like deer hunts, or you go to like the SCI show or the Reno SCI show where they have it in Vegas. You'll see some price tags on some stuff, and you're like, holy cow, people pay this much to go deer and elk or African species or whatever. So it's big money, but hard work. So
I actually got a client I'll have to introduce you to out there. I'll text you a picture of he's got a 2-story like back house that is all, I mean, it's like every square
big
inch.
old trophy room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets crazy. You get some guys you're just like they spend millions on their trophy room. You're like, holy cow.
I mean, he's got a house. It's a house.
Yeah, it's a whole house. So how's their trophies? It's nuts. I know a guy. I've never guided him, but just from the hunting community, he had a whole mountain built in his like house shop, and it has all of the sheep that he's killed on it. Like just the mountain alone, like $100,000. So it's probably like 30, 40 feet tall and like 50, 60, 80 feet wide, and has all his full body mounted sheep all over it in the house.
Stuffed sheep, like on the
whole body that he's killed. Yeah. Uh-huh. And like a sheep hunt, like say you were wanting to go and like there's guys that guide sheep hunts like in Alaska.
bighorn sheep.
Yeah, like Rocky Mountain or Dall sheep or stone sheep in the great Northwest or like in the Yukon and stuff like that. I mean, those hunts are 30, 40, 50 grand, 60 grand even. You go to Mexico, shoot a desert sheep, they're 80, 100 grand on some of these ranches, but you still pay that if you don't kill. So it's like these guys have a lot of cash, they have a lot of money, and they're, big, usually big wigs and, industry or business or sales or whatever. So
Yeah, it's funny. I was invited. I'll send you that video too by my billionaire mentor to go out and do some helicopter hog shooting.
Oh yeah,
I know it's not like it's not like crazy expensive, but he has land and he'll take his clients. He owns a bank and all this stuff, and he'll take his clients out there, and he keeps sending it to me. I'm like, it was kind of funny because I was like, I'm like, I've never been hunting before. And I kind of thought like he was kind of joking is what it seemed like. And I was like, wait a second, this dude is not joking. And I know for sure he's not joking because he just sent me a video about, I don't know, there was like some like record that, just was broken because the most amount of hogs, killed in one.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was out of a helicopter too.
And it's there in Texas, right?
Oh yeah, it's right here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they do that. It's like heli hunting, they call it. And I mean, you gotta pay by the hour in those, but yeah, they're like a nuisance there. You just got pigs everywhere. They're non-native and they tear up a bunch of farmland. So it's the only way to trap them and shoot them from the sky. So, but yeah, go do it. It's like a blast.
And he's super passionate about it. He's like, we have to get them below 30%, and then they will go extinct. And I was like, all right, cool. What the heck? So the funny thing about that, that's another. Sorry, we're gonna go some story time now.
No,
in high school, my friends, I never went with them, but I don't know why I never went with them. I just never did. I think it's because my neighbors had bunnies. But my neighbors would always drive out to St. George from Vegas or in that area, in that direction at least. I thought they would go out to St. George. And they would just maul down as many rabbits as they possibly could because the rabbits would tear up the gardens and the crops. So they it was a nuisance. And they screw in like rabbits. Apparently they multiply pretty quickly. So they they wouldn't necessarily. I don't think they would pay people to kill the rabbits, but I mean these guys would come back with they put all the heads on the front of the truck for the antenna when they used to be antennas back in the day.
Yeah, that's funny. No, it's fun, man. I grew up doing it, and then getting into the guiding and outfitting it you learn a lot. You learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about
survival. I know where I'm going.
Yeah,
Seth's house.
Going to Seth's house. Yeah, no, it's one of those things where you're doing something that we've done for a long, long time. We've hunted animals for a long, long time, and sadly, there's a huge disconnect in that in today's society on how to go out and do that, and understanding like the cycle of life and whatnot. But no, it's a big paradox. People think, oh, you're killing animals. It's like, yeah, you are, but at the end of the day, you're using that meat to eat. It's great. It's healthy. It's 100% BS free. And you're enjoying the time out there in Mother Nature, and you learn a lot about yourself, especially doing that, and being disciplined, because there's like it gets down when you're guiding and you're outfitting. You're not just like willy-nilly around. Like it's a full year-around deal. You're scouting, you're running cameras, you're looking for new areas, you're gaining clientele, you're doing the show circuit.
Now hold on, you're talking about solar?
No, this is guiding, dude. Welcome to we call it the guide life. No, and it's a full-time go, and there's a lot of the early mornings, late nights for sure, and then it's back to back to back. So it's a grind, 100% grind. It'll make a man out of you real quick, living
Yeah.
out in the woods and chasing stuff around, and so it definitely parallels in solar of how bad do you want, or how much do you want,
Oh,
So
I am so excited to compare this. This is for the hunters or for the alpha men out there. This is going to be a very good show. I can already tell. So,
yeah.
Seth, as of right now, I'm on day 76 of the carnivore diet.
Oh, there you go.
So, as far as it being healthy, I have seen a dramatic change in my mental capacity, mental fortitude, clarity, lowering my inflammation, making my sleep better. Very weird, digestive. I'm just better. Never bloated. Like I'm literally never bloated.
Yeah.
Just I'm not obviously a physician, but I don't like. I was once I started. Okay, the short story is I think that they killed my grandmother when she was in her late 70s and put her through chemotherapy, and I was like, okay, Western medicine is trash, and they are doing it for the money because the downside is doctors are just as good as salesmen as door-to-door professionals. The cool thing is that we get paid more than them and have a lot less liability. Praise the Lord for that.
10 years and we're still beating you.
Yeah. Like I live next to doctors and with doctors right where I'm at. So it's always funny. But the carnivore diet has made me open up my eyes to Western medicine and Western ideologies. And I agree. I think that God, I don't think this is going to sound, I don't think he initially intended for us to eat animals, but because of the fall of the nature, it automatically changed from that day moving forward, which then normalized it. I went vegan. This is going to sound super funny, but I went vegan for because I was trying new things. I was like, I'm not going to try all things, but there's things where I was like, okay, like I can't hate on this until I actually do it. And that was veganism for me, or whatever you want to call it. And that opened up my eyes to, animal cruelty. So I was like, okay, there is animal cruelty for sure out there, and I do not support that at all whatsoever. And I will never buy meat from places like that. And unfortunately, it's a lot of the stores that most of the listeners buying meat from, especially Walmart. I won't ever support anything that those people do.
You go to Walmart, Fry's, Target, any of that. You look at that stuff. I was there the other day buying some stuff, and I'm just like, dude, this looks disgusting. Like what?
The meat. You know what the meat looks like.
You're like, what is this? Like, I've been through the whole process, like butchering animals, meat processing, all of that. I know how to do all of that, process my own game, everything.
Yeah.
So you see the full circle. You go into the store and you're like, what the heck is that? So no, I don't. I just got a delivery of, I buy beef from a rancher in Arizona, and it's 100%, BS free. I know where it comes from. I know what they feed it, and it's an outfitter that I work for, and he's a rancher, and it's like, at this time, this is what I need. This is what I want. So.
I love that. Actually, that reminds me. I'm gonna write that down. I have to find that.
Oh, and Texas, you can find anything you want, right? You just find something, dude. Anything that it's like a private beef. It's called American Arrow. It's a plug for him. His name's Jay Platt. American Arrow Beef Company. He's out of St. John's, Arizona. Great guy, and raises some good beef, and that's what I buy. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's exciting. I just wrote that down. So guys, if you're not first of all preparing for whatever is going to happen this coming up year, it's always good to be prepared and not have an opportunity than have an opportunity and not be prepared. So go figure.
Yep.
Nice, dude. That's a really good intro. I have got, man, this is gonna roll on. We might go over our 3-hour time limit. So, dude, you're a workhorse. You played college ball. What position did you play?
Middle linebacker.
Dude, let's go. Mike, all day.
That's it, dude. Yeah.
Let's go. You're pretty quick side to side?
Yeah, I loved it too. It's fun tackling people and, smashing dudes.
That's awesome.
You see it come across the line and you're like, oh, this is mine. You're mine now.
Yeah, I was starting strong left bench, and so I did really good.
Hey, sometimes you got to ride the pine a little bit. I've had times where you say, hey, you're not doing too well right now. Go sit down. It happens all.
No, I don't even know. I did play. I played middle linebacker as well. But anyways, well, cool, sweet. So, what does your life look like right now? Like, let's just. I mean, are you Are you growing? Are you kind of staying stable?
Yeah.
I know you're not married, so why don't you tell the listeners like what is Seth up to right now? What's your what makes you excited? What makes you afraid of life?
No, the biggest thing right now is just hustling, man. Like at the end of the day, my day to day is like get up, go to the gym, get to the office, run meetings, and then appointments. And if I don't got appointments, I'll go knock with a guy, new guys, training them. It's go to bed thinking about solar and how to improve and wake up and it's SSDD as they say, same shiz, different day. So it's a continual grind, right? We're in a different market than we were a year and a half ago, a year ago, 6 months ago. Things are changing on, the financing side, how most solar's done, and even like the leasing side and stuff. And the economy's a little different. So you hear, oh, my sales are down or this or that. And it's like, well, is it, or is it just, the outside noise that's getting to you? And then you're telling yourself the market's different, and then you're not performing that. You're not working as hard because you think the market's different. It's like, well, I know a lot of guys that are killing it, and I know a lot of guys are not much has changed from last year when it was real easy to sell solar last year. So now it's the same old, same old. It's wake up, get to the gym. If I can go to the office, if I don't have any appointments in the morning, it's go to the meeting, meet with guys, help them out with stuff they need help out with, whether it's their appointments or, role playing, things like that. And then if not, it's, on the doors with somebody or, knocking for myself between appointments or running appointments all day. That's it.
Awesome.
Go home and go to bed. Yeah.
6 days a week, 7 days a week. What are you doing?
Yeah, I try to take Sundays off. I think it's always good. Rest is a needed thing. It's just for a little bit, half a day. I usually work most Saturdays though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's funny. I just finished the book, The Gap and the Gain. You ever read it? Okay, it's a definite. I got it from one of the guests. And I mean, he swore up and down that it was gonna. We were like chatting. He's like, "Hey, man, it sounds like you need this in your life." And I was like, "Oh, really? Okay. Well, I'll check it out." Just got done reading it this morning, literally, and it's a game changer. I highly recommend reading it.
What's it called? The Gain?
The Gap and the Gain. It's basically how people that seem to be bothered are living in the gap. Mm-hmm. All the time, like, life is happening to me, not for me. Mm-hmm. And if you're annoyed, you're whatever, living in a limited mindset, if you will, and not living in a gratitude mindset. Mm-hmm. The main thing I got out of it was basically always measure backwards. Mm-hmm. And I never really understood why, like, certain things in my life, in my marriage, in my business, why I was so like happy and go lucky, and everyone else was like,
yeah,
oh my gosh, it's a fire, right? So I'm interested to hear kind of like the couple stories, if you can, and how those relate to business regarding, torrential downpour and it's $100,000 client or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd love to understand some of those. So on that note, are there a lot of listeners are like you, they're the Golden Door Award winners, and they want to know the books that you're reading or personal development, inspirational, instructional stuff. Are you listening? Are you a podcast? Are you a book guy? Are you a paper book guy?
I love podcasts. I've always retained more information listening to it rather than actually like physically reading it. Just is what it is. I don't care what if someone was, oh, you're not reading enough. It's like, dude, whatever. I'm gonna listen to it. Deuces, see you later. Whatever. So I listen to a lot. I love Joe Rogan's great. I love Cameron Haynes. These are all guys that like hunt and stuff. But in terms of business, we're reading one right now. It's It's about Nick Saban. Us as a company, we always have a book that we read. Let me find it here. It's about Nick Saban, how he came to Alabama. Very common book. We're listening to it. We go through it in all of our leadership meetings. Hey, read these chapters. What'd you come from it? The Leadership Secrets of Nick Saban. So it's about him, how he evolved as such a dynasty, how he grew Alabama, where he came from, what his practices were, and just kind of just like a rundown on how he did stuff. And you just see those parallels and try to emulate that because he did a good job. So
awesome. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I guess what's one thing you're learning from right now?
I think the biggest thing is Because a lot of time in this industry, you get a mixed bag of people, whether they've never been in sales or they've been in sales before, they've been at other solar companies. And one thing that I really liked about it is a lot of times if you get guys that have been in solar before, they have a way that they want to do things, and it's like, hey, we're 1099 contractors, we do whatever we want. And one thing I noticed about the book is like when he had transfer guys or even new guys or new coaches come into the Alabama organization, it's like, no, you're going to do it the Alabama way. I don't care where you come from. I'm not really interested in what your background is. This is how we do it. Fall in line. You know what I mean? So I think there's an important aspect to that where it's like when you have these new guys come in, have them do it kind of like how, hey, this is our structure. This is how we're going to do it. And then you can kind of, let them go. But ultimately it's like, hey, this is our structure. This is how our deals are going to get put through. We're not going to change the whole organization around you. You're going to kind of have to pivot around us. You know what I mean? So I think that's important when you have new people come in that you just, especially if they have prior experience, you just don't want to say, all right, good luck. You've done it before. You kind of want to say, hey, this is our structure. We're going to put you through some training, make sure that you have everything, understand. If you have any questions, this is how you go about it or go to. So I think that's really important is like when you're growing whether it's a team or you're growing as yourself, it's like, be coachable. If you go to a different organization, it's better to just kind of sit back and watch for a little bit rather than open your mouth. So, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Awesome. So let's appreciate you sharing that, brother. So, Leadership Secrets of Nick Saban. I've seen the book, haven't read it yet, but definitely I'll have to go pick it up. So, it was funny because I was going to say something earlier, and I think there's obviously a difference now. Like the industry is evolving. When I started, it was summer sales. And then got into full-time solar immediately right after that because I was like, why would I? If I got this much momentum, why would I stop now? I'm just getting good. I suck.
Why stop? Yeah,
I was really bad my first couple summers, couple of years really. I didn't start picking up momentum until like 2017. But there's the blitz model, there's the summer model, and there's the full-time model.
Yeah.
Why are you guys doing at Bright Home Energy? Why are you guys doing? You guys are obviously doing full time. So why are you doing full time? What's up with that?
We like full time. I like full time just because it's like you're in Arizona. Wintertime might be 70 degrees. It's like the sun's still shining. So it's not like you're in Connecticut or something and it's like, oh, the winter model, you go out there, or like full-time model, you go out there and there's 6 foot of snow or something. I don't know.
Nope.
Yeah, pass. Yeah. So you're in Phoenix, dude. It's like people come here to winter. So you get snowbirds, you get a new fresh stock of people. You go knock a neighborhood that's like all snowbirds, and it's like these are people I've never spoke to. So but we still do blitzes. So if we have we usually like to do them like every 6 weeks or every couple months. Just change of pace. It's like, hey, we know there's deals in here. Like we'll go to a different city, get an Airbnb, things like that. So we'll still do blitzes with the team and certain individuals if they want to do it. And then we have some guys that'll say, hey, I'm going to go up here for the week and kind of do their own thing. And just, we have guys that say, hey, I'm going to go up to XYZ, that's 3.5 hours away, and knock for 5 days. And they always, spit out a couple deals. So we're always willing to kind of, maneuver, but we are always full-time all year round.
Love that. How do you deal with guys that want to be part-time? I've had that happen a lot in my executive coaching stuff that I do. I see that happen a lot. And it's what's funny is I think that people, when you're inside the forest, right? When you're in the trees, whatever that saying is, right? You can't see the trees from the forest. When you're inside of it, you think that you're the only company that's dealing with that. But it seems that almost every company, if not every company, deals with or has to function around, part-time people, like committing to full-time, but really only doing part-time. And then at the same point, if they are 1099, you do have to kind of tread kind of like a gray line of making them do anything because you can't tell them to do anything because they're independent contractors.
I still tell them what to do.
I know, but at the same time, you're like, bro, why am I don't understand. Why would I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't get you to work 40 hours minimum. What are you talking about? How does it even make sense? Why are you... You can't even do... Oh, dude. So walk me through that. Tell me your struggles. Is that happening?
I think we always get people that we have, we interview people or people want to come in like, oh, I can only do it part-time and this or that. I've never really seen a successful guy that's part-time. Other than if you look at part-time as like summer sales now, if you say, hey, I'm going to show up in you know,
May.
April and
May.
May and leave in October, then yeah, you're technically full time for those months. That's fine. That's like your summer model, your blitz model. You get 10 days on, 20 days off, or however you guys do it. But the people that are like, oh, we do it full time and you're only going to work 2 days a week. It's like, at the end of the day, one, you're not going to be able to work on your craft very well, and especially if you're new to it, unless you're a real self-starter and can role play in your mirror for a while, then you're hitting a lot of doors and you're really working on your skill set. But I think it's just time, especially as a new individual. If you're coming into this industry, you got to give it the time. You got to give it a lot of dedication. You're not an employee. It's like, if this is new to you, this is a whole new skill set. I'm like, this is like going to learn how to weld. It's like, if you've never welded before, it's going to take you a long time to be a really good welder, right? You're going to do certifications. You're going to be welding on pipes and all sorts of different stuff for hours and hours and hours. It's like flying an airplane. You need thousands of hours before you can fly, right? It's the same thing. It's like you need thousands of hours before you can go sell solar. It's the same concept. So that's it.
Wow.
Yeah. So
I never really thought about it like that. That's really good, actually.
Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. It's a skill set, You're learning how to articulate and talk to people and understand where they're coming from and their psyche and trying to solve their problems. So
Yeah, I see that.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell your brain is there. That's really cool, actually.
Yeah.
Why? You have your parents still together? Are they
Yeah, my parents, they're still together. They've been married for, I think this upcoming October is like 35, 38 years.
What'd your dad do for work growing up?
State Farm Insurance.
Is it?
State Farm Insurance. Yeah,
Is that like on what side of it? The sales side or like the
sales side? He has his own agency. He's still working to this day.
What about mom?
Real estate.
The sales side? Real estate sales, realtor?
Yep.
Residential or commercial?
Residential.
That's badass, dude. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Did you guys go to church growing up or?
Yeah, we did. It's funny you say I went to Catholic school for like 8 years. I was a little boy because I grew up in a little town south of Tucson, real close to the Mexico border. It's a little military town, maybe 40,000 people between the surrounding community. So it was a small enough town where you knew some people, didn't know some people, but it was like small town America. It's like God-fearing military town. So it was red, white, and blue patriot. And I loved it. It's a great place to grow up. I'm actually headed there today. Nice. It's an awesome place. So
you're going out there to sell some deals?
Yeah, I have a deal. It's in southern Tucson, but I'm going to go out there. It's my dad's birthday here, so I got to go see him. But yeah,
still there in the small town?
Yeah, oh yeah, he's still working too, State Farm. So he's a hustler too. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So, no, he grew up in a small town, went to Catholic school. Then I went to public school like 6th, 7th grade, and I was like, oh, this is more of what like the world's like. So went to public school throughout, and then obviously college and stuff. But yeah, we grew up going to church. Try to instill some morals in me that I wouldn't be some deviant and whatnot. So
yeah, no, I see that. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Tell me. Let me shift back a little bit. Tell me what you're like. If everything worked out for Seth Dozer. And let's just say you got to, okay, let me ask you this. Let me preface this first. How long do you think you'll do door-to-door sales for? Like realistically, what do you think? Like what's your plan? Do you have a plan for that?
People ask me that, like, oh, how long solar's going to last and whatnot.
No.
Like,
let's just say it lasts forever. Let's take that away from it. Like, let's say solar for sure is not going away because they've told us. Look, listen, Seth. I was in solar for a decade. Okay, they told us in 20. And first of all, it did get taken away from us in 2015. Okay, just like it did in Arizona in 2014, and then came back, and then it got taken away from us again later on. Like the ITC was going away in 2016, or so, and then it got extended, and then it didn't get extended, and it got brought down in 2020. So, like, let's just say solar's going to go forever. I had something, and I'll tell you later, but like I had something. I was like, I'm going to do this and this and this. What was yours?
When I first got into solar, I said, hey, I'm going to give it, after I did that internship for a month or two or whatever it was, I came back to it, knew there was money, and I knew I was good at it. But in all honesty, I hated knocking doors. I did not enjoy it. And I had a complete, different view on how it was, right? I kind of just went through the motions and kind of regurgitated what I was told at the first company I worked for. And, I was young and wanted to do other stuff. My mind wasn't in it. So I just was like, but once I said, screw it, I'm going to do it. I was like, I'm going to give it a solid 6 months and see what happens. But now, it's, almost been 3 years. So the way I look at it is this, is like ultimately this is, an awesome opportunity. And my favorite saying is like, you don't leave fish to go catch fish, right? So if you're on a lake fishing and there's a bunch of boats and you're all catching fish, it's like, don't leave that spot to go catch fish, right? So don't leave fish to catch fish. It's like, if you're doing well here and, growing as an individual, growing a team, things like that, and continually at a uphill trajectory of increasing, whether it's a monetary gain or a personal gain in terms of your growth of your team, or your team's growing and you're just going in that uphill trajectory, then stick with it, right? So it's like, good things are always going to come. I'd say ultimately my goal in all this is to keep doing it as long as I can, as long as it's, viable for myself and what I want to do in terms of, growth and whatnot. But my ultimate goal is to grow a big enough team and really kind of turn it into something that, is unrecognized, really pumping out some serious deals and some serious numbers. And that shifting that hustler to that CEO mindset that I think I'm kind of in, right? I'm kind of in that in between of like self-genning, running leads, sell. You kind of have to shift that a little bit sometimes to build that growth and really grow a magnificent sales team. So I think I'm on that trajectory. But like end goal, it's like, I don't really think there's an end goal, because I probably will work till I die. So it's just
Sure. So let me ask you this then. In that case, I appreciate you sharing that. If everything worked out like actually perfectly, it wasn't an easy ride. It was definitely a bumpy ride as expected. But in 10 years from now, where do you see Seth Dozer? Like what, best case scenario, everything actually worked out?
I probably own my own company in some facet, whether it be installing solar, or doing an own sales organization or a full in-house company, something along those lines. I've always been a 1099 contractor. I've never been an employee, kind of like you were talking about. You're like, hey, I've been in this, been a 1099 contractor. Now you're kind of getting told what to do. So I've always kind of like working for myself and doing my own thing and kind of calling the shots and having that autonomy, right? One, because sky's the limit in terms of income when in most industries, when you do it like this, but also you can kind of mold it how you want it. But in 10 years, ultimately, my first thought with this is roll everything into real estate, invest your money, and get to the point where it's like, hey, you're either doing some sort of consulting, some sort of training. But I'll be honest with you, I really haven't put a pin in a 10-year mark in terms of where I want to be as far as a job or a career. It's like, work hard now and that'll fall into place when it needs to.
Awesome. No, I appreciate you sharing that. And I look forward to that. I was actually expecting you to say something along the lines of, I'm going to go 7 years, 8 years, 10 years, and then start a gaming company.
Yeah. Well, the reason I got out of that, there was a joke. So this is a funny story. So I had a guy that I guided multiple times. He was a lawyer. He owned his own law firm. Wealthy guy, made great money. Obviously older than me, guided him multiple times. Kind of a quiet guy, but funny, and him and I got along, and I hunted with him quite a few years. And he hunted Africa a lot, big game and stuff like that. We were driving back. We were in New Mexico. We were driving in a truck, and I was kind of on the cusp, because as a guide, you're like, you make maybe like, if you're guiding all year round, maybe like 70 grand a year. You know what I mean? Reality, that's hard to get by on in Phoenix, Arizona. And I was 19 at the time, 20 at the time. So I thought, I was like high roller. But you have other goals. You're like, shit, I want to grow and do something else. I know I have this ability, but I remember this guide or the client we were driving. I was driving him back. It was dark, and we were kind of just talking about life. And he said, I had an outfitter tell me once in Africa, what is the similarity between an outfitter and a medium pizza? And I go, I don't know. And he goes, you can't feed a family of 4. And I was like, shit. And I was like, damn, it hit me like a ton of bricks. It was just weird. One of those moments you just kind of have like this epiphany. And I was like thinking, all right, this is my last year. I gotta get out. So I said, all right, this is my last year. I told my boss, hey, this is it. And I was like, deuces, see you guys, love you, but I gotta go. Yeah.
Wow, throw it in my face, why don't you?
Yeah, I was just like, damn. So, and he doesn't know that. It's so funny. He just was kind of saying it off the cuff, but it was like a left-right uppercut. It like knocked. It was like I was like in a standing 8 count. I was sitting there. I was like, oh god. So, and this is coming from a guy who was like, I want to be this guy. You know what I mean? I want to be the one buying the hunt. I want to be the one doing what I want to do whenever I want to do it. So, you got to make that sacrifice. So I did.
I would love to jump on a separate call and walk you through one of those to be able to do what you want when you want, whenever you want to do it. It is so, Seth, it's actually, I mean, even easier than I make it. It is very easy to design that life. A mentor, $1 million mentor of mine, his name's Dave Allred, taught me that. He's got this like strategy called what the heck does he call it? Oh my God, lifestyle design. And I have all my coaching clients, and I just give it away because he gave it away. I was like, hey man, can I give this away? He's like, go ahead. You know, that's kind of like the point.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see. You know, like we were kind of talking, we were ripping a little bit off mic. You know, I was talking about my transition into private equity and owning an investment fund and all that stuff. And I'm actually studying right now for my Series 65, so I can legally say this is financial advice soon.
Yeah, exactly.
For now, I have to say this is just financial education and information purposes only. But going into that, having the ability to design what you'd actually want, so that you can do what you want, when you want, where you want, with who you want, is something that I think all men in their 20s and 30s are ultimately looking for.
Yeah.
But we are, for whatever reason, by the older generation and the older generation above them, are, I guess you could say, I see it a lot where they think that we don't have any life in us. And it's like, obviously, a guy like Seth, you're over here like you're crushing it. And you're like, you know, do you guys just see only the negative in our generation? Like, sure, we've got some, and nothing against these people at all whatsoever. Some of my friends have pink hair, but like a guy that has pink hair or purple hair or whatever, like, you know, even like, dude, like some of my family members, I'm like, dude, like it's not that big of a deal, but like they think that since you have pink hair, that's so outrageous that you're going to be no good in life. And it's like, okay, there are some of those, but you're definitely over these. They definitely overgeneralize. Like, we're stuck to our cell phones. You know, it's like,
all these darn kids, they don't know how to work these days. It's like, dude, you want to ride along? I'll put you in the dirt.
Seriously. And it's funny because I have to, and I can confidently check them against the boards and put our generation back on, because it's like, hey, we're not the leaders of tomorrow. We're the leaders of today. Like, get used to it. It sucks to suck. You guys did. I personally don't think you guys did a very good job at raising us as a generation. But all right, you know, participation awards and all that stuff has not been a very easy. I don't know why all of a sudden I'm getting hot, but anyways, yeah. Let me go back, dude. So your end goal, is that something that you would want to do? Because my wife and I do a lot of dream building and stuff like that. Is that something you'd want to do? Is go back and actually do not the actual guiding, but being guided?
Oh yeah, no, and that was like what I tell me. Like all my guide buddies, like, dude, why'd you stop guiding? It's like, dude, I wanted to be the one to buy the hunt. It's
I wanted to be one in the passenger seat, fool.
I'm gonna be calling you soon, so it's like, and that's what I tell my buddies. It's like, dude, like, you know, it was like I wanted to flip the script. I saw these guys in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, and sometimes 70s and 80s doing this, and it's like, why wait till then? I want to do it now. It's like, dude, this is 2023. There's so much information out there. The ability to go make money, it's like, it's so close, but people don't realize that. And you just have to gamble on yourself with just a little bit. You just got to roll the dice and just run it and work hard, and it's there. It's so close, and people don't understand that, and which is totally fine. You know, they will at some point. But that's what I saw. I saw the kind of the writing on the wall where this was going. And I said, okay, so I can't do this forever. What are these guys doing that I am guiding that can't afford these hunts whenever they want and throw around tip money and have all the nice big trucks and gear and all this stuff? So it was a great opportunity to kind of see the other side of the token in terms of, okay, who are these individuals? What are they doing? How are they doing it? And it all came down to a skill that they had that they were selling, whether it was like an actual product, it was some sort of service, and it was all sales. It was, they're owning their own businesses, whether it was like construction, like that lawyer guy, so he had his own firm, had a team of lawyers, things like that. And what it came down to, all of these guys that are, and some women, but mostly men, they're all hustlers, all of them. They worked when they were, tired, and worked when they're at any time. It was just like go, 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 and they never ever quit. So.
And tell me about that. So you got to see what it looked like an image either from the outside or potentially even from the inside, in theory as a servant to the ultra wealthy. What are some of the so first of all, I want to know some lessons that you've learned, like the pizza box thing. That's freaking genius.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
But I want to know, I think what people misunderstand is in this journey about getting wealthy and ultra wealthy, getting into post wealth, which is like you've got so much money, you don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
At that point, like I don't think people, Seth, understand that when you get there, you actually get, these people are still the same. They're still just Seth Dozer. It's still the same exact person. But it is I think what the world typically sees is I'm not going to go past that because I don't want to work like Seth. But I think Seth is doing it, and like the lawyer and these other high net worth individuals that are doing it, I've started to instill in my wife that we are living from vacation to vacation. And the reason why I do that is actually a guest on the show taught me to pre-overcome the fact that I'm going to have to work a lot in the next few years if I'm going to get my private equity fund to, $100 million and, have success and stuff like that. Like it's going to have to change. If she thought solar was a lot of work, wait till you get into private equity, venture capitalists, and being an angel investor running a fund. That it's even more work. I expected that, but it was the next series for me. So what are some of these things that some of the stories, if you can, or character traits or things that people said? Did they ever tell you like, I can't wait to my next trip, or, how hard work was, but it's so worth it because we're going on this trip? Like what are some of these things that your clients said to you?
A lot of these clients, right, they view these like hunting trips as opportunities. A lot of it was like trips with either like them and a friend or even clients or even, employees that they had, or it was just themselves, right? So a lot of them it was a trip for them to kind of get away from work. Sometimes you'd have guys that would, talk to you about anything, talk about their business. And there were some guys you could tell you get to talking about, talking shop about what they do, and they didn't want to talk about it, right? So because it was just like, hey, I'm out here to hunt and have a good time. I don't want to talk shop. So everybody was a little different. But the biggest common thing that I saw, and a lot of those guys, like I said, most of them are just straight up hustlers. They just constantly work from when they were young, and they, aren't afraid of hard work. And what I think, you would see a lot of these guys is they weren't afraid of stress. They weren't afraid of adversity. They would kind of almost go towards it, right? There's this one individual, I won't throw his name out there, but he lives here in Gilbert. A good friend of mine. He's like almost like a second father, great dude. And one thing I noticed about him, it's funny because he's like a smaller guy, and he kind of feisty dude. And one thing I noticed about him, I guided him a lot, and there was never a barrier too big. There was never a problem too big. Whatever, like the trip or work or whatever, I spent a lot of time with him outside of hunting and stuff. If there was ever an issue, it was never big enough to not surpass, right? And I think that's one thing that even when we were hunting, like, oh, this or that, we can't do this. He's like, oh, let's go do that. Let's just go do this. Oh, we can just go do this. So there was always a quick, okay, who cares? Let's go. Like adversity, let's go towards it. So I think that is one big thing that I really enjoyed, is you meet a lot of these guys and you kind of pick up on those character traits or those, just how they operate as a human. You're like, wow, these guys aren't afraid of really anything. So it's like some people be like, oh, we got to cross this big old canyon. It's going to take 3 hours to get there. He's like, let's do it. And it's like, all right, here we go. So, or you say in business, he's like, oh, I got this problem, but that's okay. We're just going to go do this. So it's like, even if there was a huge problem, a huge issue, it was just like, you're going to come out on the other end. Okay. So, yeah.
Interesting. Now, any other ones that stick out to you?
Not really. Most of the time you're either, cracking dirty jokes when you're with those guys or whatnot. But, sometimes they talk business, sometimes they didn't.
What about their life? Did they feel like you were a therapist at all, that they could trust you?
Oh yeah, there was a couple. It was kind of like the same thing as like people do with like barbers or like cab drivers. They'll just disclose anything. They'll say anything to you, and you're like, holy cow! I know this guy's like
life.
I know the dirty secrets. You know what I mean? So you heard some crazy stuff. You heard some funny stuff. You met everything under the sun, from guys who were like family men, from guys who were, just there to have a damn good time. So, but most of the common trait amongst all of them, the guys that were doing very well for themselves, they all started working at a really young age. They were never A lot of them were never born with a silver spoon in their mouth. All the guys that I guided that, were like trust fund kids or, on mommy and daddy's money, you can tell immediately. You get the guys that, were literally built themselves from nothing. You notice that they started at a young age and they never stopped and they never quit. And they always did kind of the opposite of what I think most people would do in terms of growing their business. They took that risk. And it's kind of like, what's your risk factor here? Are you willing to kind of, put your neck out there in this, market, industry, whatever, and gamble on yourself? And most of them did. They took a huge risk and gambled on themselves, and most of them paid off. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, the risk thing keeps coming up and the hustle thing keeps coming up. So keep going. You're good.
But one thing that people, I don't think realize either is about, like, you always have an individual you look up to, right? Whether it's like, someone famous or a professional athlete or whatever. But one thing with these individuals that were just overall, successful throughout their life is they've been doing it a long time. And I think people forget that this takes time. This takes years to do. You look at anybody that's worth a darn, they've been doing it for like 10, 15, 20, 30 years. So it's like, dude, like even me, it's like I'm 3 years in the industry. It's like I still got a lot of time, I still got to punch my time clock and keep hustling. So you look at these really successful people, and it's just in the day and age of, instantaneous gratification, like, oh, I need it now. I need this. I want to, buy this or that or the other. It's like, dude, you got like 10 years to do, man. You still got to punch your time clock. So hold your horses. So
yeah. On that note, really quickly, I'm convinced that right now we are in a simulation game of hot potato, where the instantaneous stuff that happened, where people made a bunch of money in 2020, 2021, 2022 in the stock market and crypto and all that. It's the game of hot potato. Yeah. So I'm not against NFTs. I think that we've been in the digital crypto age for longer than what people understand. Because what is Wells Fargo? What is Zelle? That's technically cryptocurrency. Numbers on a screen. Anyways, long story short, I believe
like all the money in like the Federal Reserve, only a small percent of it's actual like cash. All of it's just a number on a screen. So it's like this is just magic now at this point.
I mean, we have infrastructure. That is the one good thing about America. So I definitely know we've got infrastructure. We've got roads, buildings, planes. We've got infrastructure. We've got military. We've got a lot of gold. But anyways, we're in a. I think that comes down to, I guess, where my transitions I'm trying to go is what I believe is that we are heading into a different season for sales, for solar, with the banking and banking system and all this stuff going on. We are heading into a different climate, very different. And unfortunately, I know that people that are not like you, Seth, will not make it. And I wanna know from you is how are you adapting or changing this year with the interest rates going up, dealer fees getting outrageous. The banks are. I told my mentor, he was like, "That is criminal. They cannot be taking 38%. That is criminal." I said, "Fred, I don't know what to tell you, brother, but they're taking it right off the top, and they're charging 4.99, 5.99
or more." Yep.
Not more. So
I think you got to pivot how you solve their problem as a homeowner, right? So it's like some markets you might not be able to save them a whole lot of money right away. It might be like a push their first couple of years. It's like, okay, so if you're not selling off savings for the first couple of years, what are you going to sell off? Are you going to sell off the tax credit? They're going to sell off like the investment side. How are you going to pivot? So you walk into some homes now, and it's very hard to in some situations based on their roof plane or their roof style. Maybe you can't, you got straight south facing or something, and it has to be a little bit bigger system. Cost goes up. They need electrical panel. Who knows? Fill in the blank. And and it's it's a push. Say their average bill is 150 and solar's 150, whatever. And it's like, okay, what are you going to do to still solve this person's problem in terms of buying from the utility versus going solar? So you got to pivot how you sell it. A year and a half ago, you could show someone $40 savings, and it was just like, oh, sign me up, right? So it's like now you have to evolve as a rep or a door knocker or whatever on how you're pitching this product, right? So you have a tax credit, which is nice. You also have the ability to pitch like owning versus renting solar systems, whether it's like, hey, you're renting your power from the utility, you can now own it and get a tax credit. But you got to pivot as an individual. It's like the same thing. It's like if you keep doing it and it's not working, you're insane. You got to change a little bit. So, and it's not hard. People think, oh my God, it's like, what's the new way to do this? It's like, well, identify the homeowner's problem and then obviously go from there. So it's like, if they're struggling because their bill's going up or their bill's too high, it's like, yeah, you can angle your pitch to that or your sales presentation to that. But if you can't save them money, right? Maybe you're going to have to draw it. Hey, you can save money at year 3 because the rates are going to go up 10% over the next 2 years. At year 3, you're going to start seeing savings. So you got to be able to show that. You got to show that math and how that's going to work for you and the homeowner. So being able just to critique your pitch a little bit and your sales presentation or just how you're talking to people on the doors and how the program's working at the moment. Especially as, some utilities, some of their buyback rates, like here in the Valley and APS and whatnot, and like TEP in Tucson, the rate at which they're buying the excess power back, it goes down every year. It's like, okay, so solar's getting worse for homeowners in terms of that buyback rate. How are you going to size these systems to make it make sense? How are you going to sell this homeowner to make it make sense? So you got to ever be evolving, changing your tune a little bit, but also in betterment of the homeowner. So.
All right. So question on that now, just for, I guess, listeners' point of view or perspective here is how do you keep your reps consistent though, if you are changing? And I think that people will get confused. So just a little bit of clarity on that.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta, everything rolls downhill. So you're going to be at a direct extension of your reps or your people that you're training or mentoring, right? So it's like, hey, if you're seeing success this way, you should probably share that with your reps, right? You should probably tell them, hey, this is what's been working for me lately. This is how I'm talking to homeowners. This is how I'm going out about my thing. And it's that abundance mindset. You get too many guys in this industry that it's like, they're like Smeagol, right? They're like, oh, this is mine, I can't let it go. You're like, dude, chill out. So there's money to be made everywhere. I always tell people there's a deal on every street. As you can see it, you drive through a neighborhood, there's solar on every freaking street. There's a deal on every street. So it's that abundance mindset. I think a lot of guys get kind of that scarcity mindset. They don't want to share the wealth. And it's like, well, if you're not going to share the wealth, you're not going to get any yourself. So being able to share that information with your people. If you find a good product, like a loan product, you're like, hey, if you do this with this and you're showing savings, or like, hey, these are the homes that I'm hitting or whatever, it's like you're only going to help yourself. So
love that. Are you doing? I appreciate you sharing that. That's important. Are you doing much like home improvements, like lights, thermostats, pool?
Yeah, we do. Us at Bright Home, we do LED lights, we do insulation and aero seal and stuff like that. So that's a nice little adder that I like to throw in there. And it helps the homeowner. If I poke my head in the attic and their insulation looks like from 1955 and it's 6 inches deep, it's like, hey, we should probably do that. And a lot of times I'll do it for free. I'll pay for it. It's $1 a square foot, and it's say they need like 600 square foot, or they want their garage insulated. I'm like, hey, I'll pay for that. It's a good, makes contract sticky, and it's a give back. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think attic ventilation is or attic is it ventilation or circulation, like that term. I think that's one of the biggest things. So I sold a lot in Arizona and Vegas and Southern California as well, and I didn't realize, and so I kind of geeked out on like attic circulation and ventilation. I was like, holy crap, dude, these things are ovens. No wonder why our walls are so damn hot and you can't cool down the rest of your house. Crazy. I mean, like they just basically build the houses of sticks and then fill in the gap, and they don't even fill it in. You're like,
here's a big old AC unit. Good luck.
Yeah, and they're like wondering why your outside wall, like, I don't know. Have you seen any any movement on like that paint that would help? Like, because I know you're in Vegas. I mean, you're in Phoenix, so it's really hot out there. But have you seen any of that paint that's supposed to like reflect heat?
I haven't seen any like of the builders doing that. I knock a lot like when I'm knocking for myself or I'm training guys, I knock a lot like a new builds, but I
Yeah.
don't think so. I think they're just using the cheapest crap they can get their hands on, honestly.
Oh
So,
yeah, 100%. Get it in, get it out. Paint it white and get out of there. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Awesome. Yeah, that's no, that's interesting. What's something that you're really looking forward to right now?
Um, just in terms of in the industry or just in
Anything.
terms,
Yeah.
uh,
Both.
I think in the industry wise, I think I'm excited in terms of, hopefully for some change, like we're talking about dealer fees and banks and stuff like that. I have hope that that will change.
It will.
Um, like you were talking about, and the industry evolves. It's pretty ludicrous. You see some of this stuff that some of these lenders are doing, and you're just like, what the heck?
It's highway robbery. They should be in prison.
Yeah, I know it's wild, and you're just like shaking your noggin at it. But just in general in life, probably I really like. We're talking about investing. I really like real estate. My mother's in real estate. My father's done a lot of real estate deals. My girlfriend's a realtor as well. She does, interior design and things like that. So, probably rolling a lot of this money into real estate, whether it's like rentals or anything like that. It's really exciting seeing, your money actually put to work for you and you make money off your money. That's always a good, great feeling when you see that. You're like, wow, I don't have to do anything. And then this is making money. So, and also teaches you a lot. You're right. You get like into the rental aspect or rentals and things. You're like, oh, I didn't know this, or I didn't know that. Or you start really looking into the weeds of different industries, and you see, either it's, loopholes or things like that, or, stuff that you don't want to do or stuff you do want to do. So I'm excited about that. I'm really starting to get kind of now into like serious investing, at least, for me, in doing that. It's pretty exciting.
Good. Yeah, I think creating I think what I'm hearing you say is definitely something that a lot of people in our industry really want. And it's funny because you will actually have the ability to make a lot of money right now, and over the next like 5-10 years, what's weird is that I can definitely tell that you're going to do it. So as far as like your attributes and character traits goes, like you're definitely, when you make the money, you're going to stay consistent and disciplined enough to be able to like not spend all your money on stupid crap.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
good for you, brother. Good for you. Looking to see your success.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do you have like a routine, morning routine, nighttime routine, quarterly routine, yearly routine? We are creatures of routine and habit, but what does Seth Dozer have?
I'm a super structured person in terms of just like my day-to-day routine in my own head. I don't like change a lot. I've always known that about myself, even though that's an important thing to be able to deal with change. But everyone's got their thing, and sometimes change will throw me off. You got to realize, okay, this is not that bad. But like I said, growing up, I played sports my whole life. Doing that stuff, you have to be structured. You're kind of just built into your noggin. It's like, dude, you've been playing football for 10, 12 years. It's just going to be, it's ingrained into your head. So for me, waking up in the morning, I usually get up, depending on the day, depending on appointments, if I got like a 9 a.m. or something like that. But typically get up anywhere from like 5 to 7 a.m., get to the gym, whether it's like 6 o'clock or by 8 o'clock, work out for an hour and a half. And then you're up and at it. So it's like I'm always starting my morning, usually 4 to 5, sometimes 6 days a week, with some sort of exercise. I usually always have. Staying healthy is like super important to me. And that speaking of guiding, that's one thing I noticed. You see these guys with all this money, all this stuff, and they're in horrible health. And it's like, dude, you're gonna die in like 5 years, and you've reached your pinnacle, and you're not even enjoying it because your legs hurt, your knees are bad, your back's bad, and you're 60 pounds overweight. It's like, your health as well. So to rewind, if I were to learn one thing from those guys, also stay healthy. We're in a world now where it's really easy to become unhealthy and make bad food choices. And don't get me wrong, I like my bad food too. I like my Chick-fil-A and donuts and stuff, but it's all in moderation. But no, working on physical health and of course going to the gym isn't just like always for physical. A lot of it's, for mental health and helping yourself out in that regard. But I'm always starting off the morning, lifting weights, doing some sort of cardio, whether it's for 30 minutes or for 2 hours, get something in, and be fit. You know what I mean? It's like, God, you've been gifted this ability to go do things. It's like, it's kind of a shame, if you're not in some sort of physical condition. It's like you owe that to yourself, and you owe that just overall to, who created you. So, yeah.
Have you ever been to Ted's?
Yeah, what?
Ted's hot dogs?
I don't know. I don't think so. I've had hot
bro.
dogs. Where's this at?
It's in Phoenix.
I haven't been.
Dude, you must
go
like immediately. If you can eat a hot dog and that you're not on some sort of a regimen that refuses to have bread or anything like that.
I'll eat hot dogs. I don't have a problem with it.
Dude, you got to go to Ted's. It's a Buffalo, New York, where my mom's from. And they have it there. She actually used to work there back in the day. It's basically like their In-N-Out burger, but for hot dogs.
I see.
And I gotta look it up. Dude, it is.
Slaps?
Dude, it is so good.
No, I got to check it out now.
Yeah, it is insane. Like, the fact that I'm talking about, my mouth is salivating.
You're wanting a hot dog. That's funny.
I am want anything right now.
Yeah, no, for me, I love good food. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, especially during when I played sports and stuff, I was heavier than I was now. But I love good food. I live to eat. I'll tell you that. I am a big eater, so I will throw down on some grub. Don't get me wrong. But I work out hard, so you know what I mean.
Sure. Are you much of a traveler? Is that something that you want to do in the future?
Yeah. Originally not so much. I'm kind of getting pushed into that. Like I said, I like working. I've been labeled a workaholic at times, staying busy, but, I think travel is important, especially, like I was kind of about like taking some days off, especially Sunday. I like to take Sunday off. Coming to realize, taking a break sometimes, obviously not like every week, but every now and then traveling with like a loved one, doing those things and experiencing places other than what you're working in is really important.
Yeah.
Get cultured a little bit, understand what's out there other than, Arizona or Vegas or wherever you're at, or in Houston there. So, yeah, I've been starting to travel a lot, especially with my girlfriend and whatnot. She loves traveling, so she's kind of been dragging me by the tail to go do those things and take some time off. But no, we just got back from California a little bit ago. We were at a wedding, but that wasn't really travel. We went to Yellowstone for like 8 days, I think, went fishing and a bunch of stuff. So we usually try to do a couple trips a year of enjoying ourselves.
Awesome. What do you think is healthy for somebody like yourself that's hitting Golden Door? What do you think? What do you think is healthy? So this is guys that are listening. They want to know. I think they need to know. Like, if you're trying to be a top performer, what is too much and what is not enough?
We'll earn it, right? So it's like you earn that break. So if you need to self-regulate this. No one's going to tell you what you can and can't do or how much time you should take off. Your body's going to tell you and your mind's going to tell you that. If you think you've earned it and you hit your goals that week and you think you're hustling and hey, I can take a week off here, go with the wife or the girlfriend, enjoy myself, and I'm going to continue on that grind, then yeah. But if you're like intrinsically motivated, if you're internally motivated, then it's not an issue, right? So you can come back and hit it hard. But if you're externally motivated, then you got to find those factors that will do that. But for me, it's like I said, I work Monday through Saturday, 99% of the time, and maybe once a quarter, take like a 2 days off, Saturday and Sunday, and then maybe twice a year go on a trip for a week. So it's like you're gonna have some time off around Christmas and Thanksgiving. I go hunting and stuff, so there's times where you're going to have a busy month of not working a ton, but just because you're not working, physically there doesn't mean you can't have your team out hustling and doing those things. And like I've had times where I'm hunting, I've sold systems over the phone. So it's like you can still make sales and get referrals and do an online appointment or a Zoom appointment and get after it. So it's like, but if you're on a trip, take the time off. I think rest is healthy and it's important, but it's got to be at the right time and the right place. If you're hitting your goals and you're on your, you're looking at your metrics and you're doing it, then yeah, go ahead.
You're 26 years old?
26.
Dude, you are very mature for a 26-year-old.
Had to be.
I'm not saying that other 26-year-olds aren't mature, but dude, like you can tell you've I think it's maybe just as you've just experienced life more than most people, I suppose.
Yeah, no, I moved out when I was 17, and was playing college football with dudes that were 25 years old. So it's like welcome to the world. You're gonna get killed by these guys. So and it was, have you ever seen like Last Chance You on Netflix?
Yeah.
It's what it was. You're playing
Yeah.
JUCO, dude. You're in the trenches. It's
Very
not
much so.
you're not in a $80 million facility like you are these big time schools or $100 million facilities. You're not getting 3 meals. You're like grinding, dude. You're like in the trenches trying to figure out, okay, is this for me or not? You're playing against dudes that have like complete reckless abandon for life. Some kids. We had one guy. He was like, well, I was 17. Our quarterback was like 26 with a wife and kids. So you're like, holy crap, I'm playing against grown men. You know, you're a kid coming out of high school or college. So, you know, I was kind of thrown into the fire early, but it wasn't anything like in a negative way. I've always kind of been like that and just said, hey, like, it's, you know, life's going to happen. Might as well start. And I was never afraid of it. You know, you just go get after it. I wanted to live on my own and get out of the house and experience life. And like I said, risk factor, right? It's like, you got to take those risks, take that leap, you know, go do something you've never done before. So.
Interesting. Why do you think people don't take risks? You said I've wrote down multiple times that you have what seems to be, Seth, is a calibrated risk in your life, and you've only got a calibrated. Everyone has a level of calibrated risk, but you have such a very good calibrated and tuned in calibrated risk tolerance. Why do you? I think I know how you got there, but why? What are some of the things why people don't have that? Like the people that don't make it in door to door, that don't make it in marriage, that don't make it in anything, or there's just continuously. So what about that?
You know, for me, it's one of those things where I think to the core of my belief is like, whatever happens, happens. When the smoke settles, you're gonna be okay. Whether you lose all your money, whether you make all the money, or you know, lose the girl, you know, get the girl. You know, get the house, don't get the house. So whatever life throws at you, you always look back on it and you think, oh, it wasn't that bad, or oh, it's not that bad. Your mind is going to want to make it to be much worse than it really is. You're going to freak out over the worst case scenario. And usually when that worst case scenario happens, it's really not that bad, right? You can keep moving. So it's one of those things. It's like, I'm willing to take risks because I know I'm going to fail, and you kind of have to fail to be successful, right? So it's like the same thing with investing. You're like, oh my God, this is, you know, X amount of dollars, whether it's six figures or whatever. And oh my God, what if this doesn't work out? You're like, well, you go make it back then, damn it. You know, it's like, well, you lost 100 grand, go figure it out. You made it before. What's stopping you from doing it again? Now you just learned on what not to do. And that's one thing, you know, throughout life is I've always kind of pushed into things that were kind of made me feel uneasy, right? And there's no growth in the comfort zone. We all know that. We all preach that. But it's like, are you really pushing that? Are you really feeling like you're in that uncomfortable realm? And if you're not, you're probably not in the right place. And I tell that to my guys. It's like when you're at the table trying to get this deal, or you're on the door. When you're first starting, if it's not feeling a little awkward, or it's not feeling a little, you know, you feel the tension, sometimes you're probably not doing it right. You know, sometimes at the closing table, there's a little bit of tension, there's a little bit of awkwardness. It's like, well, you're probably not asking the right questions. You're probably not pushing yourself as an individual to get to where you want to be. But no, having that calibrated risk factor is important. Obviously, you don't want to do anything stupid and like obviously blatantly dumb. But when it comes to business and growth in yourself, it's like your mind, this industry of solar, right? We're doing exactly opposite of what your mind and your body wants you to do. So you're like, visualize this. You're going out in a neighborhood and you are knocking on people's doors, technically soliciting them for a product that you're trying to sell. As blatant as it is, this is how a homeowner views you. It views you as a pest. They don't want you knocking on their door most of the time. You have no soliciting signs. You're in a market that gets hammered. Phoenix, Arizona gets destroyed. So majority of the time, you're going to get your beat, you know, by these homeowners. Hey, get off my property, or this or that or the other. So you're going out there seeking rejection, seeking a no, possibly getting yelled at, all this stuff. So your mind is going to tell you an excuse or a reason not to continue to do it. Because it's protecting you. You don't want to have those emotions of like, oh gosh, like, I'm nervous, this person's mad at me or whatever it be. So you're always going to have your body pushing away from that. You're kind of doing the complete opposite of how we're wired. It's your body protecting you. It's like, no, you need to lean into that. You see a garage door open with 6 people sitting there drinking beers and you're knocking, go up there and talk to them. You know, why are you afraid? Go up there. Or, hey, this has a no soliciting sign on it. Just knock it. See what happens. Or, like, what's the worst that can happen? Yeah, you hear some horror stories, but it's like, come on, it's not going to happen. You be respectful and walk away, right? So being able to lean into that uncomfortable, lean into that quote unquote risk that you're feeling in yourself and in your mind, you're always going to grow when you lean into it. So it's like, why not? You know? Yep.
Do you think people are? How do you think people avoid it though? Like, why are they avoiding it?
For them, you know, they never grew up in an environment where they were truly tested. Like we were talking about, you see some people that it's like, all these kids or this or that and the other, and you see some of that. You can probably see some of the truth in that, but then also you see the other end of the token, like individuals that are very, successful for their age or doing very well. And I even see it too. We have people that come in and it's just like, I don't think you've really had a tough go at life. I don't think I think this is the hardest thing you've ever done. And that's okay, right? If knocking doors is the hardest thing you've ever done, or the most, gut-wrenching, worst thing that's ever happened to you is getting yelled at on a door, well, then that's the worst thing that's ever happened to you, right? So it's like everyone's a product of their environment, whether it was good, bad, or ugly, and you're going to get different, individuals based on that. So I think some people are just wired hey, screw it, it's really not that bad. But you get guys that this was the hardest thing they've ever done, and they're successful at it because they realize, okay, hey, it's not that bad. I can get over that mental block of, whether people are upset or disrespectful, move on, go to the next door. Who cares? It's like that short-term memory. In 1 year, out the other. It's like, why are you letting this guy that Joe Six-Pack, call you bad names, ruin your day? It's like, dude, what? Why are you worried about his opinion? You don't even know the guy. Who gives a rip? Go sell solar to someone else that actually wants it.
Good point.
Yeah. So
I love that. Let me. I'm going to try to land the plane here as early as I can. So we have an on time landing or early landing. Sure. Let me bring you back to your Golden Door year. Standing on stage, seeing your face. That was really cool. What did that feel like to you?
It felt great, but it was like, it's one of those things that's like you expect, right? You whether you like believe in manifestation or you're expecting yourself to do that or visualization. It was cool, it was nice. It's a great thing to be recognized for what you do, but it's like, keep hustling, dude. You did it once. Can you do it again? Or can you bring in the same income you want? I'm not going to let an award, dictate my success or not success. It's like whether the Golden Door thing is real or not, at the end of the day, I'm going to keep hustling. It's cool to be recognized for that, but it's like, it's the end of the year. It's 2023 now, 2024 now. You're only as good as your last play. It's like, cool.
Oh,
get back out there, dude. Here's the ball. Let's run it. So it was good. It was cool to see. There was a lot of guys on stage, which, it made it nice to think, hey, you're not that special, Seth. There's a lot of really good sales guys out there. So, if you want to be the best, you got to beat all these guys too.
My brother always told me, I try to write down as many quotes, like things that people say. I have it here as quotes you live by. My brother always told me, you're only as big as your last pump.
That's it. You're only as good as your last play. I like that. You're only as big as your last pump. Yep. That's it.
Yeah. And I think that's really cool, man. I mean, I've had a great time with you here, dude. I look forward to one, tracking you now, because now I'm going to track you forever. You are now on my radar forever.
There we go.
It is obviously we've been trying to get, and it's understandable, but I've been trying to get you on the show for a while now, and I'm glad that we've been able to pin you down. I'm glad that I told you about Ted's hot dogs. You definitely got to go get the plug. That's a plug.
Yeah,
bro, take your girlfand there. It's a hot dog joint, so don't expect it to be Morton's or something like that, But it's really, really good.
That's funny.
You should get 2 foot-long hot dogs and just smoke those things, dude.
That's it, dude. It's over.
With the mixed fry and onion ring. Oh, brother. My mom and sister were just in Buffalo, so they, of course, in our family group chat, blasted us with all the photos, and I was pissed. So, well, let me ask you this, brother. If somebody is struggling, to get to Golden Door, 150, 200 deals a year now is what it is. Those guys are at the 60, 70 mark. What do you think that they're missing? Or are they missing anything?
Yeah, I mean, at the end, it's a multifaceted deal, right? So, what I think my biggest pet peeve is in the industry is you get a lot of these gurus or individuals and things like that, which is good. It's always
like
good
me. You're talking about? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, there's these gurus and stuff that want to put their stamp on what you need to do and what not to do. It's a multifaceted deal, right? So there's multiple pieces to the puzzle when it comes to selling anything, whether you're selling solar, cars, or anything. You can think of anything, right?
Insurance, real estate.
Insurance, it doesn't matter. So one, you got to be personable. You can't be a lump on a log. You got to get comfortable talking to people. You got to understand that, not everyone's going to like you, and that's okay. It's okay that not everyone likes you. You don't like everybody either. So not everyone's going to say yes. But two, I think a big portion of this that people forget that it's a numbers game. If I just keep knocking, I'm going to eventually hit my goal. It's like, yeah, maybe, right? So it's like, this is also a skill set. This is also, like I was training earlier, it's like a trade, right? Whether you're a welder, you're a pilot or whatever. It's like, this is a skill. This is something that you can work on, and you have sound bites and things that you can remember and how to handle objections. The psyche of sales and how you understand people, how to read people, across the table. Is this guy happy? Is he sad? Is he even freaking listening to what I'm saying? How to get homeowners engaged. So there's a huge skill. I think if you had a scale, right, like 0 to 10, I would say about like 1 through 4, like your first 40% of your ability is like ability to talk to people. The other like 60% this is a skill set. And I think a lot of guys don't want to realize that. They just want to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's like you need to evolve a little bit. You got to work on your craft as an individual and as a quote unquote salesman. And go out there and understand that this isn't just a numbers game. You got to work on your ability and be a better salesman and how to, identify problems or get them engaged, get them to disclose actually how they're feeling under that surface level, things like that. Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Very nice way to tie the bow on this podcast. Really good.
And hustle. Right? Don't be afraid of hard work. Like, it's supposed to be hard, right? You're not. It's supposed to suck. You know what I mean? It's like, embrace that. It's not supposed to be easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it. And so it's like it's supposed to be shitty at times. So excuse my language, but come on, it's gonna suck at some point.
If it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
That's it, man. And that's why there's only, a small percentage of people that are really killing it, is because they're okay with it being crappy at times. And
man, I don't think people realize how hard it actually is. Like, I don't know if I would want it any other way. Like, when I left solar, got into private equity, like it got harder, not easier.
Yeah, and I feel like it's always going to get harder. It's just like your bandwidth and your ability to handle with stress, adversity, anxiety. And as you get older and the more you kind of pack onto your plate, you're going to be able to increase that ability to handle that stress, handle that, whatever it is. So,
yeah. Well, this has been awesome. I appreciate your expertise in this. I definitely have to have you back on the show. This has been fun. I want to know more about more of your hunting stories. We'll see.
Oh yeah, dude, I got some doozies, man. I got some fun times and some crazy.
What's the craziest animal you've gamed?
That I've hunted?
Yeah.
I would say always like the wildest ones that sometimes can get a little western or get a little hanky panky, or like running dogs on like bears and lions, like hound hunting. That's usually pretty high octane when it gets going. Sometimes you're like crawling in caves after stuff or pulling stuff out, so sometimes you channel your inner hound dog, right? And you got to get into a tight spot to get something where you need to go. But that can get a little western at times, running dogs on stuff.
Yeah. Wow. Like a dog to get to a bear so you can shoot the bear, not the dog. Yeah, the dogs don't get the bear, do they?
No, they tree it.
So like put it on a tree?
Put it up a tree. Yeah, they chase it up a tree.
That's so dope, man. Ding!
Yeah, people have been hunting.
All right, sir, here's your one chance you have. It is on a freaking tree. You can put up a try.
Yeah.
You can't miss it.
You'd be surprised. I'm like, where is it? I'm like, it's right there. They're like, oh. No, I would say, people give hound hunting a bad rap. It's like the hardest days I've ever had in the woods were behind hounds that whooped my ass, chasing them up and down the mountain. So we've been using dogs for thousands of years to hunt and whatnot. It's a completely different game. Don't knock it till you try it. So
facts. Love that. Seth, where can everybody follow you, find you at? Obviously, I put all your information in the show notes below, guys. So if you're watching this on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're finding this at, go to the show notes. You can see all of Seth's socials. So Seth, where can we find you at, bro?
I'm usually on Instagram. I got a Facebook, Seth Dozer. My Instagram, Seth_Dozer. So SETH_DOSER. That's where you find me. Hit me up, shoot me a message if you have questions about anything. Need a new place to sell solar? Let me know.
Let's go. Appreciate it, brother. Awesome, brother. Well, God bless you. We'll see you at Door. Are you going to Latin SolarCon?
The Latin went. Probably not. Where is that?
It's in Vegas.
I don't know.
It's coming up in a couple days, so I figured I'd ask you.
Probably not. No, I'll be at Door Con now. I will go over there. I will be there.
I'll see you at Door brother. All right, man. God bless, man.
Take care.